Metroid fans, we have a spectacular any percent showdown right now with phatscott25 versus imyt at the SGLIVE Super Metroid any percent tournament of 2024. My name's Kev Nastix, and I am here doing comms with Twin for the first time. Just a voice that I have really enjoyed hearing in the community. Fairly new for those that don't know, but very, very excellent. So, Twin, you've been introduced. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing great. I am really looking forward to the lineup we have tonight starting, I guess not even starting off. We've had a couple of other races today, but imyt and phatscott, it's going to be great. I think you mentioned that phatscott is a KPDR runner. Is that correct?
Yes. Yep, phatscott races KPDR, and we speculated earlier that imyt is the likeliest to do PRKD, but we said, wondered if with the discrepancy in their PB that imyt might want to try to do crate first just as a safety. Some runners will do that. They'll just call an audible like we saw. I'm not going to spoil it, but watch the Oats P12 race, and that'll give you an idea of interesting safeties that you can see from higher level runners. But should be an exciting matchup. phatscott is a Nintendo Switch runner and runs with a thumbstick instead of a D-pad. imyt on OG software with the SNES controller, and we're off to the Battle of Ceres Station. This is the battle of the above 45s. That's kind of what we're looking for here.
Yeah, anything above 44, 45 is an excellent escape time. But of course it's a race, so you're going to take what you take, or take what you get, and just roll with it. That's all you can do.
I would agree. And we have here everybody's favorite room coming up. Are we going to get a tile? Nice tile boost from imyt right there. phatscott not getting it.
And that is all RNG. No way to manip that.
So a high 45 for imyt, a high 44 for phatscott. So series really doesn't really make a difference, as far as like what the times are. I mean, the runners have so much stuff coming up. I mean, Super Metroid's that kind of game that can swing in either direction for what seemingly can be absolutely no reason sometimes, just the way the game is. But yeah, very nice runs. Let's talk about a little bit about the tech we're going to use. This is a classic platformer as far as like run, jump, and shoot. But what makes Super Metroid stand out is, aside from left and right movement, you have a lot of these long vertical shafts. You're going to be picking up item upgrades on the way. This is any percent, so our runners are going to be picking up as few items as possible in order to feel comfortable beating the game. So we'll talk about boss orders pretty soon when we get to Red Tower and we go into a divergence, but we're going to see things called ledge grabs, moonfalls, like imyt just did right there in the parlor. You're going to hear a lot of crazy room names. We're going to talk about things like mock balls and beam upgrades and space jumps and all kinds of wild tech, Zed skip. I mean, you name it. So that's kind of how this run is going to go. And for the first several minutes, it's going to be just like the vast majority of Super Metroid runs that you will see. So that being said, we're about to pick up our first upgrade, which is the Morph Ball. Which why can't Metroid crawl?
that is an age-old question that I think gets solved in Fusion, but I'm not sure. I haven't played it. But in this one, we get a ball. So we're going to use that ball to immediately get out of that little area, and we're going to go collect our first missile pack down here in the construction zone.
Oh, I didn't mention down back. We see a deviation right there. phatscott going the more European style of dropping down there, and imyt going with the down back. I say European, but also Kip does that same shred that phatscott does as well. And somebody was asking before, like, does Scott really play this with a thumbstick? Yes, Scott does. Not the best Switch player in the community, but quite possibly one of the top ones that uses thumbstick. And I don't know, that's even more mystifying to me than keyboard.
Oh yeah, that boggles my mind that you can use joystick for this. Like it
and be as good as Scott.
Yeah, to be good at it, because analog, or is it analog? The joysticks are not easy to use. Beautiful pit room from imyt there, and we have the climb. imyt's doing the wall jumps, and it looks like phatscott is also doing that.
Emmett is doing the two cat climb where you shoot at the pirates before you land on the platform, whereas Scott is doing your traditional wall jump climb. So that's a little discrepancy right there. Emmett has a PB several minutes faster than Scott's, not just because of the route, but Emmett has been around for a lot longer. Actually, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Emmett was featured in the Any Percent race at GDQ just several weeks ago with
That was
some
a
other goats of
fantastic
this.
race to see.
Oh, incredible as far as like just the display of like backups and life-saving stuff. That was with Cutie, Zenny, and Oates along with Emmett. That was incredible. So anybody that has not checked that out, make sure you do at some point. But we got both of our runners are in here at BT. 5 shots with the P shot equals 1 missile, and we want to try to avoid the decapitation animation.
All right, Emmett, it took a little bit longer for Emmett to get through, but we did manage to avoid that animation on both sides. Emmett coming out with good missiles. phatscott also has enough, I think. But we'll see a slightly different strategy going through this. I don't even remember what it's called. The pirate shaft coming up. Emmett here will be killing them, while phatscott will probably just be deboosting through them.
I literally think it's just called like Green Pirate Room. I think that's one of our most boring room names of of like the entire run. But yeah, that's the telltale sign that Emmett will be going up to fight Phantoon first. Phantoon without Varia's suit is extremely difficult, especially for an unpracticed runner. So Emmett wants to save as much energy as he can because he will need it because there's a various amount of deboosts and things like that. You want to enter Phantoon's lair with as much health as possible. Meanwhile, phatscott doesn't have to worry about that so much because he'll do Kraid first, which is a much, much safer fight. And you have easier opportunities to fill up on your energy on the way there and on the way back. So much safer route for Scott. Really nice angle shot right there from Emmett on the door, and phatscott just behind. Emmett, a very accomplished 41 any percent runner. I think phatscott might have a 46, maybe a 45. I don't know. Scott has just been getting better and better over the last 2 years. So you're going to see some really high level KPDR from Scott.
Yeah, honestly, this is such a great field of runners that I would be shocked to see like the quality of runs coming from these players in the tournament are just amazing. Like, it's going to be a great tournament to watch.
The level of play over the last 3 years, I think, in Super Metroid Any Percent has really jumped up like by a huge mark. I think a lot of that has to do with the availability of the practice hack. You know, guys like Firebat and Idol worked a lot of hard on the practice hack. And I know there's several other people as well. You can fill out names in chat. So anybody that wants to learn to speedrun this game, there's definitely a practice ROM that you can use, that you can grind rooms down and get really good times before you get into runs. And I think availability of things like that, and just Super Metroid being a very welcoming, very friendly community, always trying to help everybody, become the best runners they can. Very good game to get started out in speedrunning, and it's very, very accessible for new runners.
Yeah, yes, as we'll see, the different boss routes, there's so many different strats for each room. You can pick up more items if you need them as safeties. But here's the difference here. We've got Emmett going up Red Tower. And, oh, missed that shot. While phatscott is going down Red Tower.
Very nice scree boost for phatscott right there, and we're going to see some nice Hellway D boost from Emmett. Emmett's going to farm right there. Took a little more damage getting here probably than he planned on. Emmett going for power bombs, so we'll get power bombs much earlier than Scott. Those are the power bombs that will blow open yellow doors. We have our super missiles for green doors and our regular missiles and supers for pink doors. Nice entrance into Kraid's lair from phatscott right there. Scott is going to be coming up on his first boss. Well, his first physical boss. Meanwhile, Emmett is going to be coming up on like what I think is a lot of PRKD runners' first mental boss with the moat.
Yeah, the moat, these runners make it look easy, but it is so difficult. You either have to get pixel perfect jump from the door and hit the missiles from the correct side and then get a continuous wall jump off that, or you have to do the horizontal bomb jumps. But let's watch Fat Scott's Kraid. Hopefully he'll be done with Kraid by the time Emmett gets to Moat.
Scott going for the slightly less optimal charge beam setup. So it's a little bit more reliable because you freeze Kraid's arm just like that. You don't have to deal with it when you're shooting supers. Emmett's jump looked a little low. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to take a little dip in the moat right there unless he can get this ledgy. Okay, very nice. Save that. Meanwhile, Scott gets their Varia suit. Super excellent HBJ from Emmett right there. Only slightly slower than the CWJ. Some runners find it more consistent. I personally have a heck of a time doing that. Which route, Twin, do you prefer? Do you prefer the Phantoon first or the Kraid first any percent route? What's your fave?
I actually prefer watching the KPDR because the movement's more like Hundo, and I love the Hundo movement so much. The Phantoon first route is impressive to watch, but it just doesn't have as many super satisfying rooms as the KPDR does.
This might be the first of our disagreements, Twin, because I prefer the Phantoon first route, but that'll be good. I'll fanboy over PRKD, and you can give Scott his props for KPDR.
So, okay, like, we got Phantoon, right? So we're gonna be doing missile Dopplers, most likely. I believe Emmett is known for his 1 rounds if Phantoon cooperates. We'll see how that goes.
All right, come on, Emmett. Oh,
No,
I would love to see Emmett pull off a 1 round in a race, especially because Emmett is probably, I think, the first runner who really started going for it regularly in runs. And look at that 2 round. Wow.
Nice cleanup there.
That was pretty sick. So, you know, depending on how long Emmett stays in the tournament, I would not be surprised to see a 1 round from Emmett. Scott making really good work right there. A sub 12, like almost an 11:30 high jump boost pickup is a really, really decent KPDR time for a runner of Scott's caliber. So Scott having a really sick run right now. Emmett having a really good run. We haven't really seen any really difficult situations yet from our runner. But Twin Mo, I'll let you say this. Where is Scott right now? What do we call this section?
Scott's in the shopping center. Samus just wants to pick up some new clothes. She just got herself a new pair of boots. She got a new suit from Kraid. But yeah, so we're gonna go.
The other real reason why I love you call it shopping center is not just like because you're going around and collecting all these items, but the room right before you get to the shopping center is business center. So it just kind of has a nice little ring. It's kind of like it's its own little city that Samus is rolling through. It kind of brings a lot of life and personality to this game.
Yeah, the community has done a great job with some of the names. Like, some of these names are incredibly... Oh, nice Bubble Mountain from Fat Scott there. Some of these names are incredibly creative. But yeah.
Yeah, and we still have not run out of things to talk about in this game. Even we're getting new names, new strats, even for a 30-year-old game, new strats. Really nice pancake room there from Emmett.
Yeah, we're coming up on bowling for Emmett. Not bowling for soup, bowling for Emmett. Okay. No problems there. That can be a very tense moment if we don't get quite enough health.
For the uninitiated, why is that so dangerous?
Well, those spikes do a lot of damage. And if you don't do that room right, you die. And there's no saving in this category. You could save if you wanted to. It's just slow. But, yeah.
I think those D-boosts that Emmett did to get across are very underrated, and somebody who's not familiar with the game probably wouldn't understand how different it is to do a low, longer D-boost versus one that's higher. The one that Emmett does, you're able to conserve a little bit more momentum, but if you do the wrong button combination, you're going to do a higher D-boost, you're going to lose all your momentum, and oftentimes you can only take 2 hits in the spikes or you're dead. So that room, even though it looked fairly innocuous, incredible how Emmett performed it.
Yeah, and Fat Scott just picked up speed. Now, this is something I cannot remember. I'm still learning routes and when each route picks up different things. Will Fat Scott go back and pick up ice here on the way back to Fantoon?
No, it's actually a little bit more like Hundo. Scott's not going to get ice until after Dragon because he has to go right back through that room on his way to Lower Norfair. So we will see a late ice beam pickup with the wave beam. Scott typically will go and do a ledge grab red tower. A lot of other runners will do like what's called a hero shot. So that's kind of like, you know, you'll see runners like, I believe Chabo is a sub 50 runner who still gets early ice. You know, and Insane Firebag gets Spazer still in his route. So, but Scott, on the other hand, will go up Red Tower differently. So the intended way is to get Ice Beam, freeze the Rippers to get up to the top of Red Tower. We're going to see Scott do probably one of the sickest strats, to be honest, in a KPDR route.
Are we going to see the ledge grab?
We should. Yeah, Scott does main the ledge grab, so I'm really hoping he does.
It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It looks so smooth and easy, but it is not. But we're getting Alpha Spark here from Fat Scott. Oh, a little bit high on that. Darn it.
That's like almost the entire reason Scott got the crate tank is just to do the Alpha Spark. Typically, runners, you know, will not. You know, a lot of KPDR runners will skip the crate tank. However, if you get it, it's a really good safety. A lot of times, taking a time loss to pick up an item will actually save you time because then you can be a little more reckless with your play, I guess. Here we go. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Scott. So we've got Emmett heading down to the business center, shopping center. We're going to the strip mall of Zebby's, sorry. He's going to be picking up.
Oh, nice shot. I think he got
I love that shot. I think so too. So Fat Scott's having some issues in this power bomb room here. But yeah, Emmett's going to be picking up a lot of things.
He just knows Emmett has a harder route, so he's trying to like help him out a little bit.
So we're going to see the runners kind of going over each other's tracks, just with slightly different equipment here.
I am predicting that Scott is going to nail the Ocean Fly, one of the marquee tricks for KPDR. I had considered staying with KPDR at any percent for like literally just for Ocean Fly because it's super fun, but Scott's about to do that. Meanwhile, Emmett's picking up Ice Beam for a little bit of extra firepower because when we get to Lower Norfair, it's going to be significantly different how Scott is going to approach it versus Emmett. So pay attention to the Ice Beam. That's really important. Scott is not going for Ocean Fly. We're going to 2-spark it over here. Emmett's trying to get some energy output for his beam. The Ice Beam Spazer combination is going to allow Emmett to do a 60-shot Ridley fight and a 60-shot Mother Brain fight. Emmett might use missiles and super missiles to make the Ridley fight go a little bit faster. Meanwhile, with Scott's route, Scott's going to be upgrading to Plasma Ice later, and that will allow him to have a 20-shot Mother Brain. I'm sorry, a 20-shot Mother Brain and a 20-shot Ridley fight. So that's kind of where you know, you can see some of the more difficult situations our runners are going to be in. Like Emmett is going to be going to do a lava dive pretty soon that Scott can skip because of the equipment Scott's going to have when he gets there. So yeah, there's just a lot to talk about.
Did you see that speedball?
Speedball? Beautiful work.
Fat Scott just did. Oh, mwah. Chef's kiss. Beautiful.
That's what I like about doing commentary, because I can see it here and then I can look at the restream and see it again. So any strat we see that's beautiful, I get to see it twice.
Will we be seeing any X factors from...
No, Scott's a Doppler main.
Okay.
So Scott's mostly a Hundo runner, and that's kind of where Scott cut his teeth on Super Metroid, on Hundo. Has a really solid Hundo time, so Scott is kind of just main Dopplers because it, you know, with the route that he does early croc, it actually makes sense to do Dopplers because it saves you a menu, and really good 3-round from Fat Scott right there.
Yeah, cleaned it up really, really nicely.
Rare mid. Yeah, call out rare mid right there. We didn't even get to talk about Phantoon patterns, slow, medium, and small, medium, and large, Kev, exactly. Slow, mid, and fast. You know, but chat can take care of that.
Yeah. I was going to say something and my brain just completely lost it. Oh, we're going to see a vastly different attic from phatscott.
Could be ballistic.
It should be ballistic. Okay, so it'll be similar to what imyt will do. Or
Yeah.
what imyt
I have
did.
to actually shout out Scott for a minute right here. Scott's been a good friend of mine in the community for the last couple of years right now. He's one of our fairly younger Super Metroid runners. College student, very, very big into his academics. Just a super great guy. So it's a good time to say, you know, follow imyt, follow phatscott. I don't happen to know imyt as much as phatscott, but I know imyt does great content, is very well known as a super guy. So please give our runners a follow.
Yes, please do. I know there's been a lot of map rando content on.
Nice, Scott.
Very nice, Scott. A lot of map rando content on imyt's channel. He's been having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, I believe imyt's in the map rando tournament. I'm not sure if phatscott is or not. I haven't really followed map rando at all, but I know imyt's was in the tournament.
All right, so we've got bowling coming up for phatscott. He'll probably, will he spark or will he do the deboosts?
I think he'll do deboost, yeah. So you'll see some runners will spark there. You know, I don't know. I have a hard time with that short charge for some reason. And, you know, even with high jump boots, you can still pretty reliably take only 2 hits if you're good at this game, just like these runners. So here's the lava spark that imyt's going to start up with. So this is where the lower Norfair is so different. Oh no. And he misses it, but going to back it up with a gravity jump now. Not doing Kraid. Imyt is going to take significantly more damage here not having Varia suit, because basically you're taking a lot of damage there from the lava. Gets through it, no problem. Very good gravity jump, super nice wall jump. That uses up more energy than the lava spark, and it's slightly slower, but 194 is pretty good to enter lower Norfair with imyt. We are disabling Ice Beam and Spazer right now because imyt is going to do X Factors on Ridley to open up the Ridley fight. So keep in mind what that looked like. Scott is actually going to go to Meridia right now, which is where imyt's going to head after lower Norfair. So this will be a chance where you can really see how Scott's Meridia is going to differ from imyt's and how imyt's lower Norfair is going to differ from Scott's. Set up from fast pillars right now. Nothing really exciting happening for Scott. So this is a good time to pay attention to what imyt's doing down in lower Norfair. Scott's just going from one place to the next. imyt's in danger.
In the game, it is earning its name in PRKD. Very nicely
Beautifully done. Yeah, that strat is way harder than it looks like. You have to lay the power bomb at just the right place. You have to wall jump at just the right place with just the right speed. Really good backup save right there from imyt. Almost, you know, missed that, fell into the lava there. You're going to see another spark here to kill these key hunters to reduce from lag. Scott's moon falling down red tower. But again, like I said, Scott's not in any immediate danger right now. imyt is in by far the most dangerous part of the game. Next to the escape, it just barely gets a back scratch from that key hunter there.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but both players are done picking up ammo. So
yes.
All the missiles, all the super missiles, all the power bombs that they're gonna pick up for the run.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the only things that are really left to pick up is we're gonna see imyt pick up Varia's suit from Kraid because he'll need that in order to survive Mother Brain's catch-up beam, and Scott will pick up Plasma Beam. But other than that, and imyt does need one more tank, so we're done with like missiles and stuff. We have just a few items left to pick up, and getting blue right here from imyt is a way to kind of get through this room losing less energy. We're gonna farm up a little bit here to get some health and hopefully try to get full supers because it'll make the Ridley fight faster. Very nice farm from imyt. This is a scary fight because Ridley does a ton of damage when you don't have the gravity suit to back up Varia. So hold your breath and watch this X Factor. I think imyt will get at least 2 or set up for at least 2. Let's see.
And while that is going on, we have
we get 3.
Ooh! Oh, and he got that last particle at the last second. That is so nice.
Beautiful batoon from Scott with the bad pattern. Wow, did he take care of that well.
Oh, but that health bomb.
Oh,
One super
thanks,
from
batoon.
Batoon.
Little jerk.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
thanks
no,
for the
yeah.
raid from Timon, by the way, one of our tournament racers and commentators. Thank you for the raid. We got a really exciting match going up here. No major problems right here. Both runners slayed Fantoon. Emmett having a really good Ridley fight. Scott crushed Batoon.
So Ridley has changed colors, which means he is almost dead. Emmett is counting. He's dropped all of his supers that he had, and he's just finishing up this fight.
Spectacular
Nicely.
performance. And Scott, meanwhile, about to take out Dragon. So Scott's going to be going for an X Factor setup and then hopefully getting a 2 in blue and then pulling off a spike suit from those turrets right there. So while Scott has this potentially dangerous fight, Emmett has to escape lower Norfair. The Ridley tank is considered a safety because it takes more time to pick up than the Batoon tank. So that gives Emmett an extra 100 damage to try to avoid getting hit in Wasteland and through 2 Key Hunter shafts. Uh-oh, Scott missing the spark. Or missing the short charge. So now we have just X Factors flying. You cannot fire anything, beams or ammunition, while your X Factor particles are out. So this is not a good start for Scott. So I hope he can finish this up clean. Having trouble with that short charge.
Yeah, this short charge is not easy. Okay, we got it. Not super great. You can see Dragon's belly is just that burnt orange color. We really want it cherry red.
And Scott's got to be careful, you know, if you spark Dragon, you know, with a certain, I don't know, chain damage is a real thing. That's all I'm going to say. I hope he can finish it with ammo, but Dre's drops are not being very friendly either. So this is going to be a long fight. I have confidence that Scott's going to finish it. Meanwhile, Emmett already taken some damage from the Key Hunters, should have enough energy to finish Lower Norfair in spectacular fashion. And Scott is just being plagued by just bad Dragon RNG and a rough lack of short charge.
Yeah, this just shows you, no matter how quote unquote easy the route is, it's still a difficult boss fight or run at this level. That isn't to say it's not. Oh, Emmett, please. Okay. Sorry. I'm getting distracted all over the place. I'm like a dog with squirrels. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not at this level. So these runners deserve all of the love and support that you guys can give them. So again, if you don't follow these runners, please follow these runners. They're putting on a great show for us.
Anybody who's run any category in Super Metroid knows that the biggest time losses in PB killers is literally anything in Meridia. Just something about Meridia. There's just so many ways to lose a run in Meridia, and that's just another example. You know, through just one missed spark setup. Oh, and Scott blows the spike suit. One miss. Well, you know what? Honestly, that's probably pretty good, anyways, because Scott, you know, would be on low energy sparking through the Coliseum. So I actually want to say that that's probably for the better that he lost the spike suit there just to live and not have to worry about farming too much. Scott can back it up with a womple jump pretty easily. We're going to see Emmett entering Kraid, hoping for the Kraid quick kill there. I do like that little shot on the door that Emmett does just before rolling under that gap. So really clean run from Emmett, no major mistakes. Scott, really great run with the exception of Dragon. But, you know, it's pretty safe to say at this point that Emmett is very ahead.
But the race is not over until Samus is on the ship. There is still plenty, knock on wood, that can go wrong.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at it, Scott has 4 E-tanks. Emmett is only on 3. And I actually wouldn't be surprised to see Emmett skip the tank and go to Mother Brain with 3 and change with energy. So, yeah, it's not over until Samus is on the ship, but I would definitely advantage Emmett. Look at that backup Kraid quick kill with the extra 3 missiles. Emmett's scowling, but wow, that was a fantastic backup there. So wow, and I didn't see if Emmett had. I don't think he had low supers. I think he was doing that to save supers to be full when he gets to Meridia. So really
Yeah,
good clutch fight.
for sure. We've got Plasma Room coming up on Fat Scott's side. There are like a dozen different ways to do this room, and they are all spectacular. So, let's see how it goes for Fat Scott.
I mean, that's better than some rooms. Some rooms only have like 2 or 3 strats, and they're all bad because they're hard.
Beautifully done. So now that Scott has got this plasma, you are going to notice a big difference in the last 2 bosses that he is going to take care of. The plasma beam in conjunction with the wave and the ice just melts through these last 2 bosses, Mother Brain and Ridley. Whereas Spazer and it's the grocery store plasma. It's just not near as good. It does the job, but it's
We
not near
have
as
plasma
good.
beam at home, is what Spazer is.
Yep.
So, but not only that, but you're going to see the like extremely large difference. Like Emmett had to seriously fear for Samus's life, going through 2 sets of key hunter shafts, 3 Stooges, 3 Musketeers, whatever. Scott, on the other hand, with the plasma beam, has the ability to clip through enemies if you fire the beam at the right time, because any enemy that's not killed by 1 shot of plasma, you can clip through when the enemy has iframes. So it really makes the escape from Lower Norfair much less scary.
All right, let's see how Batoon. Oh,
Double X Factor Emmett, that was sick.
That was so cool.
I've only seen Cutie do that, and I don't even know if it was the same setup.
That was absolutely beautiful.
No Yahtzee. Sorry,
No
Hockey.
Yahtzee today.
I think it was Hockey who coined Yahtzee.
I think so too. Also, could I just point out, I love the fact that the developers of this game made a sprite for Samus's turnaround so that she's actually facing forward for a little bit. Like, the little details like that in this game just make it so pretty. Oh, we
got the happy from Emmett, just a little bit
Yeah.
too low on that.
Okay, and we're taking, what is this? The southern route? The south route? Lower route? Down to Lower Norfair? I don't remember what it's called. I'm sorry. I love the route, but I still need to learn a lot about it.
I just like PRKD because for me personally, it's more fun to play. But honestly, I am not an 80% runner. Like I got my sub 50 2 years ago and almost never played it again. But it is one of my favorite categories to watch race. I like PRKD from a player's perspective because it's hard. Well, it's more dangerous. I'll put it that way. I like the dangerous runs. I'm an RBO main, so of course I like anything dangerous.
RBO's a beautiful run too. Oh, we got a nice chronic boost from Scott there.
Yeah, Scott pulling out great tech. Emmett, unfortunately, having some height issues with Sparks, and finishes up Dre, not too bad. But unfortunately, it's going to put Emmett at an ammo deficit right now. Really great spike suit get right there. And watch how fast and clean Scott's Lower Norfair is going to be. Has way more movement items than Emmett, has way more firepower. So it's definitely going to be a much faster Lower Norfair from Scott. But because Emmett already has that section done and all the bosses finished, Emmett just needs to go to Turian.
So yeah, well, vastly different strategy here in the worst room in the game. It's not even like close to the worst room in the game in this route. Freeze them, space jump your way up, and you're done.
Yeah, and even though it's not as bad as PRKD, it's still just as challenging a strat. I think if you want, it's still just as challenging a room if you want to do it fast, just in a different way, and you're less likely to die in KPDR. You just have more options to get through that room faster in KPDR.
Oh,
Oh, Emmett missing
no.
that jump. You can just spark right here. I don't know if Emmett knows that. Probably going to go for a gravity jump. Or no, not a gravity jump. What am I talking about? He has high jump boots. Gonna get a
So
little farm here from Emmett. Oh, go ahead,
yeah,
Twin. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say we're also gonna see different strats here in Metal Pirates with plasma. It just makes you don't have to spark through them or use your echoes.
Yeah, Scott not doing the most optimal one. It looks like Scott's trying to save some energy here. So probably did a safer strat on for plasma with the Pirates. But really should be okay with this Ridley fight. 240 is pretty safe for a runner of Scott's caliber, and unlike Emmett, Scott only has 20 shots to do.
Yeah, like I said, this fight is gonna go so much faster for Scott. This plasma beam, it just it cooks him. It cooks our little rotisserie chicken down here.
Excuse me. Yeah, really solid run from Emmett right here. I don't know if he's going to be thrilled with it, but as far as the races, no major mistakes, no faux pas. We got that 4th energy tank, so Emmett should be feeling pretty comfortable right here, right now. Scott most likely going to be successful at finishing this run as well. Of course, I don't want to jinx it, but Emmett has a substantial lead, but anything can go wrong, especially when Emmett could get triple hit by ketchup, could take, a couple volleys of onion rings. We could get bad mother brain patterns. So even though Emmett looks substantially ahead right now, still has to survive a much more dangerous Turian than Scott is going to have.
So, if you were in Emmett's shoes, would you save before Mother Brain?
I actually would. I think Emmett is far enough ahead that would get another shot at Mother Brain if he dies, and wanting to stay in the tournament longer. I don't think it's a bad call, but I think for a runner as experienced as Emmett, not really necessary, because he has an extra E-tank for safety, and Emmett is very used to running 3 tanks. So if I were me, I would save. If I were Emmett, I would not.
But let me just put this out there. That extra tank could come back and bite you if you forget that you have it and you're not thinking about it. Because
that's true. Imagine getting, ketchup beamed by Mother Brain twice.
Or, double rainbow beam or something like that. Sometimes.
Or, yeah, that's what I meant. Double rainbow beam.
Okay,
I don't know why I said ketchup.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
Because ketchup, it's something that Mother Brain does. It's fine. I'm being kind of rude correcting you. I'm sorry.
Don't even worry about it. I didn't even notice.
But yeah, sometimes the best safety is just doing what you know how to do.
Very well put. Let's see if Emmett gets this nice D-boost. Hit it at the right time. Very good D-boost. That D-boost allows you to get through there only taking 10 damage off the Rinkas instead of 30 damage, I think it is, if you have both suits off of those giant Tuskikas right there. So nice energy-saving strat from Emmett right there. And setting up for the Stashio baby skip, we have Stashio in chat. Hello, Stashio.
While we're waiting for the baby skip.
Yeah, go.
I just had to say that the escape from Scott was beautiful.
Oh, I missed it. Scott has done a lot of beautiful things, so I'm sad I missed it, but glad he did something wonderful. It's kind of weird, too, when you watch a race with this lineup right here. Like, Scott is an extremely incredible Super Metroid runner. It just so happens that with any percent, Emmett is, like, one of the best of all time. I don't know if he's in the top 10, but I think there's less than 15 runners with a 41, and Emmett is one of those runners.
Yeah, I think everybody in the top 10 is at least 41 now.
Yeah, and that's pretty wild. But hats off to Scott. I mean, Scott is a really great runner of this game, and based on seeding, as good as Scott is and where he's seated and who he has to face is actually kind of wild. Like, what was the cutoff time? Wasn't it something absurd, like a 46 to get into this tournament? Like, that's just
I
absolutely
wouldn't doubt
insane.
it. Honestly, like I said, the caliber of these runners in this tournament, the competition gets stiffer every single year. Like you said, the quality of Super Metroid speedrunners the last few years has just improved so much that tournaments like this just get so competitive, and it makes for some amazing races to watch. Speaking of watching though, we have Emmett on Mother Brain, and it is a lot of shots with his beam combo. So there's a lot of dodging of the meatballs, the onion rings, the French fries occasionally, and when we get to it, the ketchup.
Yep, and for Emmett's screen, ketchup is going to come after the 46th shot. So I think Mother Brain has to be at like, 51% down or something like that. I just know that after 46, the ketchup is going to come, and at 60, Mother Brain is dead. The ketchup is way more dangerous, but a lot of ways way easier to dodge because there's the telltale sign of the arm pump that Mother Brain does that tells you the ketchup is coming. But still, it just, I mean, look how fast, look how furious. Emmett just like a stone cold warrior, damaging down to just under 400. So this rainbow beam is going to do 300 damage with both suits equipped, which is why Emmett picked up the Varia suit. And really well done. And I am happy to see that Scott is going to make it into Turian before Emmett is out.
So, as a runner, Kev, how do you handle these little cutscenes that both our runners are in? The G4 cutscene and then the baby cutscene. How do you handle those?
Honestly, I check my email, I get on Discord, I text my wife. I do like literally anything except pay attention to the game. And then I'm
Fair.
like, oh, okay, let's get running, So that's how I handle it because you have the potential of doing a great Turian or just getting absolutely destroyed with massive time sinks in Metroid rooms or missing baby skip. For me, it's just too stressful if I have to sit there for 30 seconds doing nothing.
That is fair. A lot of runners I watch do little hand stretches during this time to keep loose, or just, talk themselves, try to calm themselves down after a great run, or talk themselves up after a run that maybe wasn't what they wanted.
Having never had a great run, I don't think I've ever been in that position. So.
Oh, come now. I'm sure you've had good runs before.
Yes, at least one. At least one that I'm proud of, but I think that's just being a speedrunner. Yeah, Scott's got some sick Metroid rooms. Scott is a really good runner. I always kind of feel bad for, runners that kind of get paired up. Like, both of these runners are absolutely incredible. You think about Scott's run, it really had like a crap dragon, and then the whole rest of the run was excellent. So it can be kind of deceiving to watch this time, but it also goes to show you just how easy it is to lose a lot of time in Super Metroid. Like, no matter how good you are, the game just sometimes just wants you to stop. It just wants to slow you down.
Oh,
Yeah, but Scott is a really excellent runner.
We're not getting Stachio from Scott here.
A lot of runners that learned the baby skip before the Stachio skip came just kind of don't want to change because it's just easier to stick with what you're comfortable with, or maybe just, I know, like I said, Scott is a student, so he might not have a lot of time to update a lot of his strats because he does focus very hard on his education. But it is nice to see a so-called boomer skip from somebody as young as Scott, because I still main that myself.
So I don't know how they have time, but Scott and Emmett were talking in the race room, and Scott got 3 back-to-back golds in the early game. So we will have to ask him about that when we do our interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. Emmett about to finish with a pretty spectacular sub 44, which Emmett might not be crazy about that time, but it is enough to win. So GG to Emmett. I don't know what the official time is, but somewhere around 43 and change.
It's 43:58 according to race time.
43:58. So GG Emmett, thank you for putting on a really great show for everybody. Very happy to see that you didn't have any major troubles as far as like, no spending time in the land of moat for 3 minutes. Um, and Scott finishing up his mother brain fight, going to be just a couple minutes behind Emmett. To be honest, the race is a little bit closer than I thought it was. But, sometimes when you're watching PRKD next to KPDR, you forget how fast that mother brain fight can be. Let's see. We should get both of our runners in for an interview. We need to mark Emmett done.
Jestro's got that covered for us.
Oh, Jestro. Jestro is just a legend.
Yes,
anytime
huge.
you need something done on stream, Jestro is the man.
Huge shout out to our restreamer helper, Jestro Zooks. Thank you so much for helping out in the background, helping get these races restreamed. Really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, and the whole SG, family at large as well, that allows us that promotes our tournaments, hosts our tournaments. I've always had really friendly interactions with the SG Live staff, so, and kudos to our organizers, Shiny and Sassy Zenny, and QZ for organizing this event. Really, really great job. I'm happy to be a part of it. I would not run any percent, but man, I will talk about it all day.
Same. Big same. I do hope to eventually run this category at least a couple of times and get like a sub hour, but it's down the road.
I think you'll have more satisfaction running RBO, but I have a huge bias.
I love RBO, but just watching it gives me heart palpitations because it's so stressful. So
I am actually more scared escaping Lower Norfair in PRKD than I am in RBO. I know that might sound insane, but when you're on low energy, like you don't have screw attack in any percent PRKD. You don't have you don't have plasma beam. Like escaping Lower Norfair in any percent, the only Lower Norfair escape I can think that is scarier than that is like low percent. Lower Norfair is very scary, but it's also very fun and rewarding. And by the way, I want to shout out to Scott. 2 out of 10 performance for using Moonfall. I remember back in the day before you used that tech, Scott, you were part of the gang. Does the no Moonfall? So 2 out of 10 performance on that exit there. But everything else, I love your run. Good job, Scott.
I love this community. I absolutely love it.
I got to throw out shots there. He betrayed the no Moonfall gang. No, I'm just kidding. Scott's the man. And we have an official time for Scott, which is going to be whatever Twin says. And GG to Scott.
It's an official race time of 47:53.
I just absolutely love this game. And I am so glad that I was available to do commentary. Not only did I get to do commentary with Twin, who, by the way, Twin, I loved your commentary when you were commentating my attempt to run a 100% race against Shiny Zenny. I was definitely doomed from the start on that one. But you and Dust did commentary for that, and that was my first Hundo tournament. So ever since then, I was really hoping I'd get a chance to do commentary with you. So thank you for being here with me today. I always enjoy your commentary, so to be partnered with you it was just a good moment early on in the tournament. So thank you so much for being here today. It was awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Kev, for those kind words. I've been looking forward to doing commentary with you as well. While we're waiting for our runners to join us, I'm going to do my commentary spiel right now. We are always always looking for commentary for this tournament. The more people we have sign up for commentary for these races, the higher chance we have of getting them restreamed. So if you are at all comfortable speaking about this game and how much you love it, you don't have to run it. You don't have to know everything about it. Even just going like, oh my gosh, did you see what just happened, is better than not having the race restreamed. So please, 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 if you're comfortable signing up for commentary, I highly recommend that you do that. I love hearing all of the new voices and seeing them paired up with some of our pillars of the community. So
New voices help, by the way, because a lot of us who've been involved in the game for several years, or like those of us that run it ourselves, sometimes we take for granted things that, the casual viewer would need to know about this game. We kind of know what the strats are. We kind of know what's coming, so I think it's always good to get a new voice in there that might catch things that we just kind of gloss over because they're so innocuous for us because they're ingrained in our muscle memory or whatever, or we've talked about it so many times that we're just like, oh yeah, early supers, here we go, spore spawn skip. So it's really great to get different perspectives, and new voices can help carry the tournament, because when you do a lot of commentary, you can get kind of samey, or it can get kind of tiring after a while. Plus, I don't know about you, but like a lot of us work full time, so I cannot do them all. People cannot do them all. And please jump in and help us out. It'd be really great to hear new people. Yeah. Let's get hockey for literally all commentary. Thank you, So who do we have in the chat here? I didn't see who popped in. Do we have Emmett? Do we have Scott? Do we have both?
We got Scott.
Yeah.
Scott,
I believe Emmett,
GG, and we have Emmett too. All right, well, GG to both of you. Really exciting and really fun to watch from a spectator standpoint. Scott, I'm really sorry that Dragon decided to just be mean today. But other than that, really incredible first half of your run, and Emmett, just always spectacular to watch you play. Really solid 2-round Fantoon and some really great moments there. What do y'all have to say about your race?
Not too much. I decided to kind of just I think it was a little risky going PRKD. But I think I decided that, no matter who I race, I'm just going to do PRKD this whole time. And if I have to, I'll just grab the E-Tank. I got a lot of health, but kind of decided to grab the E-Tank. I was sort of watching the restream. I was like, well, if Scott for some reason takes a tragic death, I might just slam a save. But other than that, I'm just gonna, go for it.
How do you approach Mother Brain differently when you have 4 tanks? Do you feel more comfortable, or do you're just so used to a 3-tank fight like it's not a big deal? Do you still give Mother Brain respect when you walk into that room with 4 tanks?
That's a good question. I think with 4 tanks, I am no longer respecting Mother Brain, I think. With 3 tank, it's always a little scary because like any bad hit can kind of just cook you.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the fact you can take almost a quadruple hit from onion rings, and you can take a catch-up hit with 4 tank, it makes me much less worried. Kind of the 4th tank is only for Mother Brain, honestly. There's no real, unless your health is really low after Ridley, but I had like 200 plus HP, so in a normal run, I felt completely confident to do that escape. But the 4th tank was essentially just for Mother Brain, or if I completely had a meltdown on, Musketeers or something.
I think that's respectful early in the tournament. I mean, we've seen, really great runners just have like one bad moment, like, oops, I didn't get the Ridley tank and accidentally took an extra hit in Wasteland, and then the Key Hunters might be in a bad position. Yeah. So, like, I think that's the smart thing for a runner to do early on when, you're the higher seed. You have that PB. I think that's, really, really smart play. And, you know, Scott's no joke. Like, I feel bad for the dragon he had. But, Scott, you know, do you want to talk about your 3 golds in a row that I heard you got?
That's sick.
Let me see how many I got this run. I actually got 5 golds this run.
Oh my
Holy
God. Like,
5 golds?
with
Nice.
the
That's
exception
awesome,
of
man.
dragon, you
I
were
got 6.
crushing it.
I got 6 gold this run. Let me see. I got one of them was an early game Bond Torso gold. That was I think it was like a 447, which is I have a better bonds time in Hundo, but I'm still catching up with the splits in this one. So 447 wasn't bad for me. And then I had pretty much every segment after that. I had a gold early super segment, and I had a gold like Kraid's Lair segment. So overall, I was like minus 17 ahead into Kraid, which is kind of crazy. I never had a pace like that in any percent. And up to Fantoon, I lost a little bit of time in between because I had a few mishaps here and there. And Fantoon gave me, I think it was like a mid. And then he gave me like the rare left mid, and it came completely out of left field. And I was like, what the heck? And I somehow, like, I got lucky that he opened his eye slowly, so I ended up being fine there. But,
oh, nice. Still reacting even to a slow eye open's good. Because, I mean, you see those patterns like once every 6 months to a year. No joke.
Yeah. Apparently that mid fast was a best Fantoon for me, which is a little weird. I didn't know my 90% Fantoon was ever that bad. But if I ever get a 2-round in a run like I have in Hundo, then that will probably be a lot lower at some point. But after Fantoon and Gravity and Wreck Ship, I was minus 30 into Meridia. Bobtoon was perfect. Full Halfy I had no problems with. My main problem with Dragon was really just that I pressed right instead of down when I went to charge the spark on accident. And as a result, I completely whiffed the first spark and lost the X Factor. And after that, I knew, like, if that was a normal run, I would have just like tried to kill Dragon with more sparks, but I knew that since it was a race, I really didn't want to die in a race. I was just gonna play it safe, even though I knew it would take forever. So,
right, that makes sense.
I lost like.
I do have to shout out your Bottoon, by the way, Scott. Like doing that nice 1 round with the bad pattern, like you crushed that. That was excellent.
Oh yeah, I got the upper pattern, but I've practiced it enough now to where I feel pretty comfortable with.
Did you do the double X on it?
No, I did not. I just shot him.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they crushed the
Speaking
double
of
X.
double
That was
X,
gorgeous.
I think it's
that
good
was
to learn.
beautiful.
I think it's nice to learn. It looks really intimidating, but it's actually made me want the top pattern as opposed to like dreading it back in the day.
That's fair. I think it might be good to learn. The only issue in KBDR is sometimes you don't always have the power bonds to do it. But,
oh, that's true.
inside of but if I have extra power bonds, like this run, I think I had 1 to spare, so I could have done it if I wanted, I believe. But either way,
sometimes that's a little tricky because my muscle memory is so tuned for, like, because you have to be quick. You have to be a little quick. You do the second X Factor, and then you immediately got to swap the supers and shoot. But so like my muscle memory is to tap my item select 3 times, but if you aren't paying attention and you use your last power bomb, then it defaults, to no items, and so you have to only hit it twice. It's often, will mess me up, and I'll like triple swap, and then Bottoon's, doing his own thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, this run was like pretty good. Otherwise, after my Dragon mishap, I had pretty low health leaving Dragon, which is pretty rough because there's no other really E-tanks to pick up or anything like that. So I had to play the rest of the run safe. So I lost a lot of time in LN, relatively, like not a crazy amount. Ridley wasn't the best, but had I had like a totally okay Dragon, this run still would have been like a 25-second PB because I had
that's awesome, man.
Good final segment and good Torian. So yeah.
So runners, sorry to interrupt, but we do have Eddie versus Spiffy Thomas coming up in just a second. They are waiting in the race room, so unfortunately we're going to have to cut this interview short.
No worries.
We have to wrap up this race and then reset up. But thank you so much for putting on a spectacular show. Thanks for Twin being here with us and everybody in chat. So I guess if nobody else has anything to say, we can see you next mission. Yeah, go ahead. GG Scott, and thank you to Kev and Twin commentating. Thanks for having me, guys. And GG's.
Yeah, no.
I'm out of here.
This is a good race. Thank you. for commentating Kev and Twin. I'm definitely gonna have to watch this one back. And yeah, thank you.
All right, Twin, take us out.
Well, I don't know what we're taking out because you're sticking around because you are also doing commentary for our next race, which I believe is Eddie and oh heck, who is it?
Is
Eddie
it
and
Spiffy Thomas?
Spiffy, yes. So stick around. It's on the same channel. We're just going to switch out the runners. We're going to pull Kev back in, and you get to listen to Kev talk about this game some more. But again, thank you so much for letting me come on and join you for this race. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.